Hey house guests, welcome to today's Big Brother 17 updates and spoilers. Our house guest of the day is Grandma Nana, and she has been watching since forever. And when I say forever, I mean like since high school. That is insane. Thank you so much for watching us. It means a lot. Alright, so I want to start today by going over yesterday's Power Veto competition results because there's a lot to talk about. It was a punishment and reward challenge. I know we touched on it yesterday, but I want to give you guys a little bit more. So it seemed like the competition was a medieval theme, which is awesome. I love it. Too bad Austin wasn't playing. He's totally into that. He's got his master's in medieval history. But a little bit of a consolation prize. There was some wine for the spectators of the challenge to enjoy, and it seemed like they really enjoyed it. So the players were James, Shelly, Clay, Jackie, Becky, and Vanessa. And now let's go over those punishments and rewards. So the happy campers, first of all, James, Power Veto winner. That's exciting. Clay won a trip to Ireland for 2. That's pretty exciting. And Becky, $5,000. What? Okay, now let's talk about the sad sacks. So Jackie has to wear this plastic suit of armor. It's like really ridiculous, and she has to wear this helmet and everything, and it like covers her eyes. I think she has to wear it for a week, I think. Now then, Vanessa's punishment is connected to this. So Vanessa has to be Jackie's squire for 24 hours. So I think Jackie wears her costume for a whole week. Vanessa's got to do this punishment for 24 hours. So she's got the squire costume. Thank God they took away that green hat, gave her a new red beret, change it up a little bit. And Vanessa has to buff Jackie's armor for like the whole 24 hours. Well, not the whole 24 hours, but for as long as Jackie is awake. We'll get there in more detail in a little bit. But let's talk about Shelly. This is a pretty rough punishment. She's got to do some night training. So she's got 24 hours to complete this training circuit 2,400 times. So if you do the math, that's a pace of 100 per hour if you're going to split it up like that. So she's got this friggin' sword, and she's got to go through this course. There's 3 different stations. There's one where she has to like hit this punching bag into a target. She's got to stab a target, and she's got to chop this stick that's like held up. So that one kind of sucks because you have to knock it off of the thing, and then every time you have to pick it back up again, and no one's allowed to help her. So that really sucks. And every time she completes 100 laps, she's got to go run through the house ringing this bell, and she's got to be like, the kingdom is safe, the kingdom is, like something like that. So if she fails and does not complete the task, she's not allowed to compete in the veto competition next week. So it's very similar to Brittany's punishment from last season with the soccer goals. It's brutal. Alright, so now that James has won the Power Veto, Clay and Shelly are like, what are we gonna do? So Clay is going around the house telling people, vote me out and keep Shelly. Boo! Lame sauce. I hate that. It's really, it's crappy. I think that they should both go for that reason. Clay, you want to go so badly? Good. Get out. Shelly, also get out. That'd be awesome. Yeah, but it bugs me because you could tell he really does not care about the game, and it's just like, I care. I would love to be in that house. But anyway, Johnny Mac is also very upset that Shelly and Clay are going to be split up. So he was crying alone in the cabana room, and I think it actually was because he was upset that they're going to be split up. Johnny Mac, stop that. I love him as a person. I don't love his ridiculous loyalty to Shelly and Clay. Like, they've used you so many times, and they don't really care that much about you in the game. So, no. Okay. I lost my spot. Vanessa was crying too, which is a little bit more understandable. She was just like, oh, Clay, you're just like the most romantic man I've ever met in my life, because he's like willing to fall on his sword, pun intended, so that Shelly can stay in the house. So they're not totally hopeless yet. Clay and Shelly are still trying to make plans to try and figure out how they can both stay in the house. So they're like, should we try and get the Oz twins nominated? Should we see if we can get Steve up on the block? What can we do? So Shelly's just like, I really don't want to get Steve up on the block. Like, I'll feel so bad. And Clay's just like, we need to be selfish, Mama. We need to do this. This is for us. So then Meg and Clay were talking in the bathroom, and Meg was a spectator in the power veto competition, and she was definitely drinking up that wine because she was looking a little bit tipsy. In the background, Johnny Mac was just like, I'm drunk. It was great. But anyway, they were being very handsy, Meg and Clay. Like, it was kind of like, whoa, I hope Shelly doesn't walk in right now because she's going to lose her mind. So Clay asks Meg to vote him out. And Meg starts getting, like, really emotional, and she's just like, baby, it's not your decision. And she's, like, touching his face, and she's like, I can't promise you that, and I'm not going to do it, and you know how I feel about you. And it's just like, I'm not going to do that. Like, you're being a jerk. Like, don't throw your game away like that. So it was just, like, really, it was kind of a funny scene, and I hope we get to see that on the show. But it looked like Clay was enjoying the touchy-feely a little bit. What? Alright, so let's get an update on the punishments. They didn't start right after the power veto competition was over, so this is where they kick in. So Jackie and Vanessa are not actually shackled together like they've done in the past, but they do have to stay together because Vanessa has to, like, polish the armor, like, that she's wearing. I think there's also a shield, so she's not always touching her, but it's, like, really weird. So Vanessa gets to sleep when Jackie's asleep, but Big Brother will still be waking her up during the night to do more polishing. And also Vanessa has to sleep on the floor. That really sucks. Okay. Let's talk about Shelly. She began her punishment around 9:45 Big Brother time. And while this is going on, like, she's not allowed to go in the house except to go and ring the bell every 100 laps. And that means that she has to use a porta potty in the backyard. Ew! Alright, so if she needs anything from the house, of course, other house guests can go in and bring it out for her, including food and drink. Alright, so like I said, it's swing, stab, and chop, the 3 stations. And also, no one can help her. So she was starting off really strong. She didn't want to do a lot of this in the hot sun the next day. So by 12:40 a.m. she hit 600, and that was time for a pizza break. So yay. There wasn't much game talk going on last night with all the punishments in play. So Big Brother was like, wow, this is kind of boring, so let's party. So Liz comes out of the diary room with a card from Big Brother, and it's like, yo, the live feeders want you to sex it up a little bit, so it's time to play Spin the Bottle. James and Austin are very excited about this, but I don't know why, because this is Big Brother US, not Big Brother Canada. I swear, on Big Brother Canada, they play Spin the Bottle like every time they get alcohol, and they're always like, bleh. On Big Brother US, Spin the Bottle is like, oh my god, I can't believe I just did that! Oh my god! So I always do that! Shay and Kelly. Shelly and Clay finally shared their first kiss on the lips. It was a peck. Whatever. But this was a really big night for Steve. He got like three pecks, and he was telling Vanessa that these were like kisses number 6, 7, and 8 or something. And when I say that, I mean like total in his life. And it's just like sad. Okay, so, but he was like excited about it, so good job, Steve. After that, Shelly was still hard at work. She hit 1,000 laps at 3:08 a.m. A bunch of the house guests that were still up ran the lap with her with the bell, and they were like, oh yeah! A few minutes later, the end of the pole on one of the obstacles broke off. And there's this rule that if she breaks the equipment and she can't do it anymore, she's disqualified. But Becky brings out the med kit, she fixes it, and then it breaks again a few minutes later. But I think Big Brother fixed it for her, so it was all good. Okay, so then Clay and Liz had a late night, early morning strategy chat, and Clay lets Liz know, Shelly and I are planning on throwing Steve under the bus to James. We're going to try and get him up on the block in place of one of us, and we want you to help. So please, you know, start planting those seeds with James and tell James that Steve is coming after him and their group. So Liz is like, Oh, I don't know. I'll see. I'll see. So Liz tells Austin about this, and Austin's just like, what? Like, I don't think this is going to work. And if we do say that to James, it's going to look like we're working with Shelly and Clay. And we don't want that. So Austin is just like, nah. All right. So back to Shelly. She hits 1,200 at 4:18 a.m. Austin, Liz, and Julia are outside with her. They do a little halftime show because that is her halfway point. She's still really on pace to finish early. So then Steve comes out in the backyard and he's like, I'm going to stay up all night with you. I remember watching when Brittany was doing the soccer one, and I told myself if I was ever on the show that I'd stay up all night with that person. Steve says all this stuff, and Shelly and Clay are still planning on throwing him under the bus to James. Heartless. But Steve didn't end up staying up with her anyway, so whatever. She hit 1,600 at 8:20 a.m. That was nap time. So Clay slept outside with her. I don't know if he was actually allowed to do that, but they let him. So then they woke up just before 11 a.m. and Shelly was all like, I hate when the cameras are all on me when I don't have my makeup on, and blah, blah, blah. I need sunglasses, and blah, blah, blah. She's complaining, and then she's like, I hate my morning voice, and Clay is like, oh, I love your morning voice, it's so raspy, it sounds like a man, I love that. And Shelly's just like, that's really weird, like, don't say that, oh. So then she gets back to work. Did I miss something? No, she gets back to work. So it was a pretty uneventful morning. Shelly hit 2,000 around 2 p.m. Still way ahead of schedule. And then we finally get some strategy chat between James and Meg. So James lets her know he still definitely wants to keep the nominations the same. Vanessa's like really paranoid that she's going to be backdoored, but James is just like, no. Nominations are staying the same. So then James and Meg were talking about how they're a little bit worried that the vote could be flipped this week and Clay would go home because he's been campaigning to people to send him home so that Shelly can stay in the game. So my thoughts are like, wouldn't it be hilarious if James actually used the veto on Clay so that he couldn't go home and then put up someone like Liz next to Shelly? But I didn't like go through all the votes yet, so I don't know if that would actually work. But you know, Austin and Julia would not vote out Liz, so I don't know. I didn't count all the votes, but it would be kind of funny. But James doesn't want to do that because he knows that when people change their minds about a plan, you're just gonna piss off more people, so he doesn't want to do that. But Meg is very interested in solidifying something with Austin and the twins. With the double eviction coming up, she kind of wants to work with them, and she wants to get rid of whoever is left between Shelly and Clay and then Steve and like Johnny Mac before going after Austin and the twins. I don't know if that's a good idea because that's a pretty solid group of 3. You really want that in the end? That's kind of risky. So then Liz comes up to the HOH room and she warns them about Shelly and Clay's plan to try and get Steve backdoored this week. So she's just like, yeah, they're going to come up here. They're going to try and tell you anything to get you to use the veto. So James is just like, well, I'm not doing it. So Liz promises again that they are going to vote however James wants. I don't know if that's true, but this is like at least the second time that she said that to him. We'll see. So unrelated, outside, some of the house guests saw some skywriting from a plane, and it said, I love you, heart dash S. So I don't think it was Big Brother related, but Shelly thought that it was definitely for her. So, yay. Photo booth day, that's exciting. Big Brother gave them a little task. They didn't want them to just take like fun photos. They wanted to do these like transformation shots. So they were like, you have 4 frames to go from beauty to beast. So like start out with your cutest face and then like just get uglier and uglier with each shot. Fun. Alright, so Shelly completed her punishment just before 6 p.m. today. Big Brother was mean and blocked the feeds, so we didn't get to see the celebration. But yeah, she finished early. So now that she's done with her punishment, it's time for Shelly and Clay to see if they can get James to use the power of veto. So the power veto ceremony should be tomorrow. It's usually in the morning. So I'll have that for you guys tomorrow. I don't think James is gonna budge on this, but you never know. But let me know in the comments what you guys want to happen. Do you think that James should use the power veto? Let me know. And until tomorrow, much love.
Edit.